and welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing my February reset. I didn't actually do a January reset just because honestly I just felt overwhelmed by all of the yearly goals videos and pressure there is at the beginning of the year to have everything figured out straight away. So I really took a step back and just kind of rolled my goals over that I was focusing on in the last quarter of last year into January, and just was like, let's just try and get back to status quo in January. So I do have some reflections and some goals that I'm going to be working on next month, but again, I'm just trying to keep the momentum that I started building last year. So we're going to talk through everything. I still haven't done all of my proper annual goal setting. I've got notes on what I want them to be, but I haven't properly sat down and put them all into categories and also timelined them. So last year that worked really well for me, where I have Q1 I'm going to really focus on these two things, and then Q2 I'm going to focus on these. So I kind of have it in my head what I want to focus on already for Q1, so that's why we're going to be talking about that. The whole annual goals thing, I really haven't properly sat down and looked on a holistic view about what I want to really achieve this year. I feel like I've just taken January as a bit of a reset, recalibration month. So I'm going to be doing a get ready with me while I kind of reflect on the last month and how it went, just fill you guys in on everything that's been going on. And then I do a little monthly favourite section, and then I also will touch on what I want to work on for next month. And obviously not everyone is going to be really goal oriented, but I've found that this just helps me kind of know what I'm working towards and know what I'm trying to achieve on a overall level in my life. And I found it a really, really helpful structure to have now that I'm out of education and in the working world, and have been for 10 years now. I think for a few years when I got out of education I really struggled with that lack of structure, and so I really had to find systems and processes in place that made me feel like I knew what I was working towards and how I would achieve those things, if that makes sense. Obviously it's not going to be for everyone to do goal setting like that, but I really hope that these videos are just a fun watch. You can get a little glimpse into my life, what I'm working on at that current time, and what my favorites are, and just podcast style, sit down, have it on in the background, grab a drink, grab a snack, whatever you want, and hopefully it's just a relaxing little catch-up video. So that's the goal with these videos, and we're going to continue doing them in 2026. So thank you for joining me. And I will also leave all of the products that I'm using on my face listed in the description bar, because I will not be mentioning them as I talk, because that's just too much to remember. Okay, so I do want to give Gabby Peterson some credit. She is a YouTuber and she does these resets every month, and I actually downloaded her Notion template, which has her goal prompts and things that she uses every month, because I thought it would be good to have kind of a bit more of a structure to put my goals into, because I was just writing notes on my phone for these videos. But yeah, her videos are so great. I really recommend her channel if you're interested in productivity, lifestyle, financial content, that kind of thing, but in a really accessible way. So I did buy her Notion template just to have something to, like I said, put all my kind of reflections into and figure out what my goals for next month and things are going to be, so I can just refer back to it on my phone really easily. So the first reflection prompt in here is, what were my biggest wins this month and what contributed to my success? I'm just reading off my phone down here, so sorry if that's distracting. So I've put getting back on track with my calorie deficit and Peloton workouts. In the last quarter of 2025 I was really trying to focus on eating in a more strict calorie deficit, because it's something that I had wanted to basically lose weight for a while. I had really cracked getting into a routine with exercise and feeling like I was making progress there, but I still wasn't losing weight. So I wanted to get really strict about my calorie deficit, and December I had a break from doing that, and then in January I have been picking that back up again and being quite strict again. And when I say a calorie deficit, I'm not talking really cutting a unhealthy amount, just enough so that I am gradually losing weight. So I want to lose a few kilograms, and I'm maybe like a third of the way there. So I am really pleased with how that's kind of gone, because I was really not strict at all in December, and I just kind of let myself have fun in December. It was Christmas month. I didn't feel guilty for like eating what I wanted, going out for meals, and just, yeah, living quite freely in terms of what I ate, knowing that I was planning to like continue my calorie deficit in January. And I haven't slowed down on my progress. Obviously I didn't lose any weight in December, but I kind of just stayed maintenance. I didn't like put a load back on either. And then when January started, I really got back on my healthy eating deficit train, and I'm not using a delivery service. I am just going to M&S, and they have these kind of like microwave meals essentially, but they're like healthy, like chicken and cauliflower rice or that kind of thing, and they have no additives. It's all like just pure ingredients. That I have found to be a game changer in actually being able to sustain a calorie deficit, because what I would find before is I would find it so difficult to track meals that I was cooking from scratch, because normally we would just cook. So we get like Gusto, which is similar to HelloFresh, and I would just cook that, and I would, although it does have the calorie counter on Gusto, I always think like you're just putting like raw ingredients in, and you would literally have to weigh out every ingredient if you were doing that from scratch and not making a Gusto recipe, if that makes sense. So if I was just like decided, oh, I want to make, I don't know, chicken pasta tonight, then it's so difficult to track a meal like that. So the thing that I have really found to be a game changer in the calorie deficit world is being able to literally just scan the barcode of the meal prep meal and track that. And it just takes so much of the guesswork out. I know so much more clearly what I'm actually consuming every day because of that. And like, I do not have the time to be meal prepping loads and loads of food every single week for like my dinners, my lunches. Like, I follow Alana Davison, and she will literally meal prep on a Sunday all of her dinners and all of her lunches for the whole week, and that's great, but I just don't want to be spending that much time cooking on a Sunday. So for me, the kind of convenience of the microwave meal preps, just in terms of tracking, has taken so much of the guesswork out of it, and I can actually really understand what I'm eating. And then I do try and meal prep my lunches in the week, so I'll have like chicken, vegetables, and like sweet potato and like some tzatziki, kind of like a salad bowl type thing, but like warm because it's freezing in the UK at the moment. So that has been going really well. And then I have like a couple of breakfasts that I rotate that I know how many calories they are. It has been a lot easier to do once I figured out that kind of hack of using those meal preps, but I will say they are £7 per portion, and Adam likes having them too, so that's basically £14 a night for dinner for us in the week. Every time we eat that, we have it about 3 to 4 times a week at the moment, and then at the weekends we just kind of, you know, do different things. But that's been working well. You know, the scales are still going down, so it seems to be working. But yeah, I honestly, I think it would be so difficult to do just time-wise if you were not using a system like that and you were just trying to like cook all your meals from scratch and track them, because it would just take so much time. And then going to the gym as well, like with a full-time job, if you want to go to the gym, you know, I'm going to the gym every night at like 6 p.m. say. I don't get home till 7, half 7. It's so much easier to just scan the barcode on MyFitnessPal, pop my meal in the microwave, it's ready in 4 minutes, it's done, than like having to then get home, weigh everything out exactly, put it all into MyFitnessPal. It's just, yeah, I don't know how people do that and work a full-time job, because it's honestly like so time consuming. So that is first goal, and that goal will continue into the rest of quarter 3. So I'll be doing that for until the end of March at least. And then my next big wins this month were just surviving January, to be honest. I feel like I've really struggled. I've been quite up and down this month with my mental health, and I think it's been a lot to do with the winter blues, like sad seasonal affective disorder. If you live in the Northern Hemisphere, you probably get it, but yeah, just the lack of light is so depressing, honestly. But I've been trying to just remind myself whenever I feel sad about it, pun not intended, I've just been trying to remind myself that it's temporary, like it will pass, and you know, the lighter days, the lighter evenings are coming, and you will be fine, you will get through this, you know. So I've been trying to remind myself of that and just remember that nothing is permanent and these feelings won't last forever. It is very much like a seasonal thing for me. And I have been taking vitamin D as well, which I think has helped a little bit, but it definitely doesn't get rid of it completely, which is a shame. Big win is just surviving January, full stop. And then the other win I've put is not overspending too much. I managed to put a lot of money in different pots. So I had some dental work this month. I've got Adam's birthday, so put some money aside for that. I also put some money aside for Rhodes. We've actually booked our holiday to Rhodes in May, so it was quite a good January in terms of not overspending. Obviously December is a high spend month generally, so I did still make some purchases. I did still kind of try and get that dopamine fix a little bit through shopping, but definitely not as bad as some Januaries I've had in the past. And I'm pleased that I still have all of my money set away. I'm on target with my like bigger savings goals as well, so I feel like generally I'm in a good place with money, which I've struggled with in previous years, so happy about that. And then also, yeah, going to choir. So I started choir in December and I've continued to go. I've been once this month, just because the whole saving money thing, you have to pay every time you go, basically. So I've just been trying to cut back a little bit on things like that. Next month, I am actually going to put money in a Monzo pot aside for choir so I can go every week if I want to, because it's just really good for my mental health, I think, to do something in a group of people like that, like a community thing. And there's no pressure, like you don't have to do the concerts if you don't want to. It's just kind of you go, you sing, you have a good time, you enjoy it. And I always sang as a child and growing up and in school and university and everything, so for me it's something that I love to do and I've always enjoyed it. So really pleased that I have found that, and going to hopefully continue that into 2026 as well. So next is what challenges or setbacks did I face and what did I learn from them. So yeah, talking a little bit about the seasonal affective disorder. Obviously, I mean, I think everyone has it. It's not like a unique thing, but I definitely have been feeling that this month. That has been a big challenge, just to kind of like stay positive. And there's been a lot of stressful things happening at work, which I feel like I say in every single video because it's just a little bit of just how it is at work at the moment. It's a hard time for everyone in the charity sector, particularly in the UK and particularly in international development, which are both things that I work in. So it's challenging, there's a lot going on, and I am finding it stressful at times. You know, everyone has ups and downs and it's just a part of life, unfortunately. Something that I have learnt and try to remember when I'm in a stressful period or have had a bad day at work is that generally, if I just can sleep it off and get through to the next day, I won't feel exactly like this the next day. I will still feel maybe a certain type of way about the situation, but I won't feel as heightened and stressed and anxious about it. Things usually feel more manageable the next day. So just remember to give it time, and again, like, nothing is permanent, everything is temporary. So next one is, how did I spend my time and does it align with my values and priorities? So yes, I did a lot of chilling this month, and like I said, just trying to get back into routine, lots of going to the gym, and I feel like it was a bit of a hibernation month, which was very needed after the crazy December, you know, everything that goes on in December. So, and then finally, what is one thing I'm grateful for this month and why does it matter to me? And I put my lovely, peaceful, cozy home with Adam and Moira. I am just so grateful to have the space that I have to live in and our little family unit. And I think the craziness of December and just like realizing the life that we're building for ourselves is actually a really peaceful life in our own home, if that makes sense. I think sometimes when you go and spend time with a lot of family over Christmas, you can really realize, I don't know, just how different life was when you were growing up, and that's definitely something that I have had to adjust to as I've become an adult and kind of reflect on a lot of things and realise that a lot of things probably weren't great when I was growing up. I mean, I kind of always knew that anyway, but really just like being grateful for the, like I said, the life that we're building here. I'm very grateful for everything I have and the roof over my head. Like when you read the news at the moment, it's alarming and concerning. Everything that is going on is just scary at the moment, and it makes you feel very grateful to have a nice home to live in, you know, have heating that comes on every single day, hot water, all of those things. So yeah. Trying to still perfect my curling routine. I am hoping to film it, like it's on my filming list, but I just want to perfect it a little bit more first. I've just bought a new curler as well to see if it kind of improves the longevity of my curls. So it is on my list to do because I want 2026 to be the year that I like master curling my hair and I'm able to do it often and more quickly. We'll see if that actually happens, because who has the time, honestly? Yeah, I just really want to be like that girl with nice curls. And I think Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is what has like got this thing in my head. Like I love their curls so much, and yeah, I just want my hair to look like theirs. So I have a few beauty favourites, but it's mainly skincare and hair care. So for anyone who has followed me for a while, you know that I only use cruelty-free makeup. I am not as strict with my hair care, body care, cleaning products, all of that stuff on making sure it's cruelty-free, just because I find it's really hard to keep up with every single brand, and also the cost involved, especially with skincare, just because things break me out a lot with skincare, so I have to be really selective. But I am quite strict with makeup. But just in case you're wondering why, I am going to mention like some non-cruelty free brands here, but I'm not going to keep mentioning it in future videos. I just wanted to put it out there so that it's transparent. Like, I know not all of these brands are cruelty free. I don't know if people are actually following me to get those recommendations, but I just want to be really clear with everyone. Like, don't just assume that all of the skincare, the body care recommendations that I'm going to give are always cruelty free. So do your own research, look up the brands yourself and whether you feel comfortable purchasing from them. So the first one is the La Roche-Posay Cicaplast Baume B5+. I have been using this for probably like 2 years now, and it's so good in the winter time. If you have eczema or severely like dry skin or any dry patches, use this on them. Like, just try it. It is recommended by a lot of people for eczema relief, and it really does work, except for on the eyelids. Be very cautious about using it on your eyelids, because if I use it on my eyelids, I get a rash on my eyelids, but the rest of my face is absolutely fine. So the way I've been using it this month is not so much for eczema, but just because I found that with the heating in the UK and then it being very cold outside, my skin has been drying out a lot, obviously. So I found that just putting a layer of this over my moisturiser at night, quite a thick layer, has really, really helped with the hydration and the plumpness of my skin. So I really love this. I pull it out every winter. I've bought a couple of tubes of them now, and like I said, I originally bought it for eczema relief, but I don't have eczema on my face. I have eczema on my eyelids at the moment though, which is a bit of a nightmare because I can't use that on these. So I'm having to use a hydrocortisone cream very sparingly because you've got to be careful with it on your eyelids and it's just a whole thing. But I really, really do love this as a general moisturiser in the winter months. It's fantastic. The body cream I wanted to mention is the Biossance Unscented Squalane and Caffeine Toning Body Cream. I bought this towards the end of the summer and didn't really use it loads, but I had almost run out of my big Naturium body cream in the like pump form, and I wanted something that was going to be in a tub so that I could put it in my drawers by my bed and it wasn't having to like sit on my bedside table because it just was like a big thing with a pump. And I take like a couple of years to go through body creams, so I just wanted something that was going to be unscented, not like irritating my skin, not mixing with any sense of my fragrance like perfumes or anything, and really hydrating. This one is great. It's like a really nice whipped texture, so it's very hydrating. Like a little bit goes a long way, and that's what I loved about the Naturium one, but they don't do it in a tub. They do a different one in a tub, but it's not the same and it doesn't have as good reviews. Great, that just fell on the bed. Perfect for my nice clean bed sheets. But hopefully you can see that it's kind of like a whipped texture. But yeah, I've been loving this in the winter months just to add a little bit of hydration back in my skin, and it's really high quality body cream, I would say. If you are looking for something that you know is just gonna work and be a good staple in your routine, like I want a deeply moisturizing body cream. I don't want like something that is just gonna sit on my skin and dry out really quickly. Like if I'm gonna moisturize, I want to feel the moisture going into my skin. So really like that. So the Seychelles from the White Company, I got these in a set for Christmas. So thank you to my mum who got me this, if you're watching this. The White Company Seychelles scent. So this is the shower gel and this one is the candle. There was a couple of other things in the set as well, but I just wanted to give a shout out to the scent more than anything. Like I've used the diffuser before as well, and it is such a nice scent. So it says that it is bergamot, amber and vanilla, which normally I wouldn't think that I would like those scents mixed together, like the floral and the amber and the vanilla. I would be like, not sure about that. But this smells basically like tropical paradise. Like if you want a beautiful smelling tropical beach paradise in your home, but not too sweet, not too fruity. It's not like that kind of scent. It's just like really elevated, chic, tropical paradise. That's all I can describe it as. Very kind of, it smells like coconutty, but it didn't say it had coconut in it. It just said amber and vanilla. But anyway, yeah, really like this scent. I've used the room diffuser, obviously now have the candle. I've been burning this most evenings when it gets dark and I'm working at my desk. I love having that lit. So yeah, really, really been enjoying that. And the shower gel is great because I have noticed that I can smell it on my body like a few hours after I shower. So really, really like that. The White Company scents are so long lasting. I think they do some of the best room diffusers for scenting the whole room, and they last a really long time in terms of like the months that they last. Like you can have them for like 6 months and they still smell. And the hair product I wanted to recommend is the Living Proof Perfect Hair Day Advanced Clean Dry Shampoo. So I've been testing out a few different dry shampoos over the last year or so. So I've tried the other Living Proof one, the kind of standard Living Proof dry shampoo. I've also tried the Amika dry shampoo, and I think this is my favorite out of all of them. It says it like actually cleans your hair, and I would agree with that. I think it really does make your hair feel that bit more clean. It's not gonna feel like you freshly washed or anything like that, but you know how if you use a regular dry shampoo, when you put it in your hair and on your scalp just feels a bit like producty. Like it just feels like it's got stuff on it and sitting in it, and your hair just feels like it's kind of like got a lot of gunk in it. This doesn't really do that, so it feels really lightweight in your hair. It does everything you need a dry shampoo to do, but it also doesn't weigh your hair down. It doesn't give you that like itchy scalp. It doesn't feel like there's loads of product sitting in your hair. It's not uncomfortable throughout the day. So yeah, really, really like this. I did love the Amika one as well. The regular Living Proof one, I'd say, is not anywhere near as good as this. I think it's a good dry shampoo, but I think this one is a step above, and I don't think it's that much more expensive. So I'd say if you're going to choose between the two, definitely get this one out of the two. I think the Amika one is a really good comparison to this. They do say with the Amika one, their selling point is also that it actually cleans the hair, so quite similar to this, but I just think this pips it a little bit in terms of the not weighing down your hair as much, and also still feeling like you've got a lot in there. So I felt like with the Amika one, it would almost be like invisible in a way, to where I was like, did that actually do anything sometimes? So yeah, I liked the Amika one and I really enjoyed using it, but I think this one is slightly better in that you can really feel it going into your hair, you can feel it working, but it doesn't feel too heavy and you're not like aware of it throughout the day. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of hard to describe, but recommend if you are in the market for a dry shampoo. Okay, so now moving on to what I'm going to be setting for my goals in February. I am really excited for February. It's the shortest month of the year. I feel like by the end of February, you really feel like you've like broken the back of the new year, you know, and the winter blues. So I am looking forward to getting through February. Is that an okay thing to say? I just think January and February are just long, aren't they? They just go on for a while, and yeah, the winter it feels long when you're in January and February. But when you get into March, that's when you can start seeing like the end is in sight, spring is coming, spring is starting to arrive with little buds and blooms everywhere. So I'm looking forward to just continuing with my routine in February and just smashing through it, basically getting it done. So in terms of next month goals, as I said, I do want to try and kind of work in quarters rather than like switching out my goals every month, because I feel like that's a lot of pressure to be like, you need to have achieved this by the end of the month. Obviously it's not going to happen. So I'm rolling over my calorie deficit and working out regularly goal. We'll continue that. I am also rolling over my emergency fund savings goal. So I had a number that I wanted to hit at the end of 2025, which I did hit, which is great. So I have a good amount of savings in my emergency fund now, but I really want to, my new focus is getting it to 6 months salary. So I think at the moment I could kind of comfortably cover like 3 or 4 months, maybe 5 at a push if I really like reduced how much I spend. But I would really like to get it to like 6 months comfortably. Like I know I have that in a savings pot if anything was to happen. Like I said, it's a very unstable time to work in the sector that I work in at the moment, and I think you just have to have your ducks in a row, have everything prepared should the worst happen. So my focus for this quarter is going to be continuing to save up my emergency fund. I will also have some of our holiday payments to pay off when it gets closer to May. So I want to have a decent amount of money in there so I can dip into it for my holiday savings as well, and then kind of continue working it up to that 6 month savings emergency goal. The other one, which I have kind of been contemplating and thinking about and trying to decide what we want our next step to be in this like realm for a long time, is I am going to start taking some fertility supplements. So we're not in the mode where we are like actively trying to have a baby or anything like that, but we are starting to think about the future and what that might look like. And I have had friends who have had issues getting pregnant or sadly, you know, had miscarriages very early on. And not that I think taking fertility supplements would prevent that from happening to me, because obviously I have no idea. Like I've never been in the position where I'm trying to have a baby, so I just don't know what my body will be doing. But I just want to try and set everything up physically for it to be the right environment should we decide to go down that route at some point. So it says anyway for them to be like fully in your system and have done everything they need to do, you should take them for 6 months. So I just figured like what's the harm in starting to take them? We have clearly like not made any hard and fast decisions. I think when you are a woman, there is so much pressure to decide on like, when are you gonna try and have a baby, like when's the right time. Like I have felt so overwhelmed by it for a really long time. The moment I turned 30, I was like, oh my God, I am behind. My biological clock is going to be up now. Like, you need to think about this. And I felt like so overwhelmed by it that I was just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to change my life. I like how everything is. But I also know that if I never had a baby, then I would regret that. So been trying to come to terms with what I want to do, and obviously what we want to do as a couple as well, but it is my body, so just trying to feel more comfortable with that idea that like our lives are going to change a lot in the next probably, you know, 2, 3, 5 years, whatever it is, and feel like okay about that this year. It's like a big goal for me. Yeah, it's really tough, and I don't see a lot of people talking about that, and I feel like I just shoehorned that very deep topic in at the end of the video there, but hopefully some of you could relate, and maybe I can talk more about my feelings about that topic in another video at some point in the future, because I feel like there's so much I could talk about, and I think Alex Cooper actually did a really good podcast on that very topic of her trying to decide like, oh my God, now's the time, but I don't feel ready, but if I don't do it now, then my biological clock is going to run out. Like, those all like the thoughts that I've had. And yeah, so I'll link her podcast on that down below if anyone is having those same anxieties, because I did find it really helpful to listen to and just feel like, oh my God, other people feel the same as me about this. Thank goodness. I mean, I knew I wasn't the only one. Obviously, you kind of know like other people feel the same, but it just really helped like put things in perspective for me. So yeah, if anyone is struggling with that, then you might find listening to that podcast helpful as well. But I've been speaking for well over an hour. Hopefully this video is not too crazy long. If you've got this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate your support and love as always. I hope that you are doing well and having a good day, weekend, evening, whenever you're watching this. So thank you again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.